Hey guys, it's Saturday night and I'm just sitting here in my dining room reflecting a little bit, and I'm sitting here doing one of the things that I love the most. They're back in this little travel container. I had them in a different enclosure, but I didn't like it. I don't think they really liked it, but we got a call from a greenhouse who had these 4 little froggies that came in on plants. And this is obviously not their element to be up in North Dakota winter, so they needed some sanctuary. So I took them out of that other enclosure, and I'm currently putting together this one for them, so they have something a little more suitable. So I'm just doing that, and I'm just reflecting a little bit, and just got me thinking. It's been about just close to 7 months since I've been in this house. If you don't know, the last 2 years have been one of the most trying times in my life. I was in Fargo, and I loved Fargo. I loved my life in Fargo, and I had my house, and I ran my rescue, and I had my job, and I had friends and family and support, and I had built a pretty good life for myself, and I was very proud of it. I was doing foster care, and I had 22 kids through my house in the few years that I did foster care in Fargo. And then when I found out that I was pregnant with my son, I decided that I was going to sell my home, move up to Botno, so that my son's dad and I could be a family with my son, and he could have both of his parents, which is something that I didn't have growing up, so I wanted to give him that love and that support and that opportunity. And things just weren't gonna work. I've done a lot of therapy in the last couple years here to get myself to a better place, to find the me that I had lost and that I had suppressed for so long. And a lot of that is taking the accountability that I needed to take, and then also drawing the boundaries that were very difficult for me to draw and to force other people to take the accountability that they needed to, and release myself from that. And so it's been an interesting journey, but it just kind of takes me back to some of the forks in the road that I had to make decisions on, and how some of the things that I had so desperately prayed for didn't happen, and kind of the effects of that. And the first thing is when I was looking for housing. I lived in a home that wasn't mine, and I needed, when my relationship ended, I needed to find a place that I could live for me and my son. And I originally wanted to look into purchasing the house that we were living in. It was the home that my son was born in, and the home that he knew. All my stuff was there already. But that was not an option. So I was looking for anything. I was looking for rentals. I was looking for purchase options. I was looking everywhere. I probably viewed 50 houses, and the population of Bono isn't that big. So I was just desperately trying to find some stability for myself and for my son, and have a plan and, have some control, something I hadn't had for so long. And at one point, I was like, man, if I can't find something, like, I looked at buying an RV, which I thought would be really fun in addition. But I was like, worst case scenario, if we have to, we can live the RV life for spring, summer, and fall. And that would give us, another half a year or more to try to find a more permanent option. There was a house that I did put an offer in and it was accepted. The inspection came back and there was a lot of things wrong with that house. It wasn't a safe place for my family. And so that fell through, and that it was discouraging. I was devastated. I felt like a failure, and I felt like I was letting my son down, and I felt like no matter what I did, no matter how hard I tried to get ahead, it was just one step forward, 5 steps back. And the weight was so heavy, and I didn't know how I was going to keep carrying it. I had left a relationship with nothing. I sold my house in Fargo, and when I first moved here, I supported myself. And spent my savings, supporting myself, until my partner, started paying for our life while I tended to my son, and I didn't have anything left, anything saved up, and so I had to completely start over. That was really rough. I doubted a lot of things. I kind of doubted myself, and like, why was I in this situation? Like, I try so hard to be just such a good person and to help everybody else and to do whatever I can. And so why was all of these terrible things happening to me, and how did I get in this situation, and why didn't I know better? And what was I being punished for? What did I do to deserve this? Like, all of those things when you're just at the lowest point. I'd driven by this house every day on my way to work, and I wouldn't even look at it. I wouldn't even go look at it because in my head it was so far out of my price range, and I didn't have any money saved up. Like, how am I going to come up with a down payment? Especially when, locally, like, the down payment requirements are like 25%. Like, as a single person, as a single parent, just getting back into the workforce after having a child and not having any savings to rely on, not having anybody to fall back on or to help me out, like, how am I going to do that? So I didn't look at it. And an offer was accepted, and I was so worried that I was going to have to move away and, go somewhere else where there's more housing or something to rent, like anything. But I didn't want to take my son away from his dad and his grandparents. I didn't want to deprive him of those relationships that I didn't get to have growing up. And finally I came to look at this house because I was just like, you know what, let's go look at it, because like, worst, like, maybe looking at it will like get it out of my mind. I literally thought about it every day. And I submitted an offer and it was declined. They didn't even respond, just said no thanks. And that was, I think, right before Thanksgiving, the day before Thanksgiving. And then I submitted another offer and it was countered, but it was still higher than I thought the value of the house was worth. And, again, I am pinching every penny. I am saving everything. I am selling everything. I am doing everything I can to secure any funding, at that point that I could. And I countered the day before Christmas. It was accepted. I'm sitting here in my beautiful dining room with all of my books. Just make me feel so happy. I have two beautiful foster babies sleeping upstairs. My little family is safe and warm and fed. And I'm just so grateful because all of the things that I prayed for, all of the things that I thought I needed right now, all of the things I was so desperate to have that I didn't know how I was going to survive the next day without, all of the things that God didn't give me made it possible to get into this house. I have a foster puppy whining in his kennel in the kitchen. I have my other puppy sleeping away in my cozy little house. And I'm just so grateful. Because when I thought I was being punished and that I didn't deserve it, and that maybe God wasn't hearing my prayers, He was just saving the best ones.